The second vice he talks about is desensitization. That we, it's impossible to actually care about everything. And we can't care about every issue and remain sane. So we sometimes just desensitize ourselves where there's some crazy attack or war or famine or issue or whatever it may be, where people are getting all upset and it's just like, oh yeah, that's over there. And we just kind of brush it off because it's like, I can't carry this burden. And it's true that we can't carry everything. But what do we do? Do we actually care about things that matter, that should be cared about, or have we become desensitized to where it's hard to even separate what should I be caring about and what shouldn't? The third vice he talks about is narcissism, that everything has become all about us. And what am I posting and what is happening in my life? And you should see this and do this. And so that's something that we should consider. Whoever you are, myself included, is to consider, what am I posting and what am I trying to communicate? What am I trying to show? Am I trying to show everybody, look how good my life is? It's all about me. Look what I'm doing. What do our posts communicate? And what is the point of what we are posting online? The fourth one he talks about, the fourth vice, is passivity. Says probably the most easily diagnosed media effect is one that the average student feels intuitively, and that's passivity. We are passively consuming culture rather than actively producing it. So here's a question of the Christian worldview. We are creators. We are to be creating, to producing, to be making. And the question is, are we actually productive? Or are we being more passive? Are we sitting there consuming and absorbing? This is what entertainment culture does to us, where we just expect to be entertained. And so just feed me, feed me, feed me. Or are we giving back and creating? The next vice, the fifth problem, is ignorance. He says the fifth problem is the fact that all of these knowledge products are demonstrably making us dumber, stupider, and more idiotic than ever before. This growing ignorance, he writes, is documented in several recent books. One from Mark Berulin's The Dumbest Generation, to another book by Charles P. Pierce titled Idiot America, to another one by Rick Schenkman titled Just How Stupid Are We? And really it is our short-term memory is being lost, because why remember stuff when we can just Google it? He says, here he writes, let me just read his quote. Almost all measures of intelligence, from fluid to crystallized intelligence, long and short-term memory, reading and writing skills, are all dependent on the functioning of mind, memory, and language. When the contents of mind, memory, and language can be externalized in a medium like the cloud or Google or whatever, and portable media devices give us the illusion of a portable omniscience, we are really shifting the contents of our brain from an internal to an external hard drive, and our brains are getting softer in the process. This also helps explain why students nationwide resent assessments that test their hard command of facts more than ever. Don't understand why plagiarism is an issue. Isn't that true? That why do I memorize a phone number if it's just in my phone? And it's like, what do we do without our phones? What do we do without our devices? What do we do without spell check? What do we do without autocorrect? What do we do without these things? It's like, are we actually still learning to spell? Why do spelling bees? Why do I just have to spell it close enough, right? As long as I get it close enough, autocorrect will correct it for me. Is that really me being smarter, or is it actually causing us to possibly be dumber? That's one thing why when I was a high school teacher, I would do a lot of written assignments with a piece of paper and a pen. You will write this by hand. And it is crazy how many students writing is illegible. Like, you cannot read it. Is illegible the right word? Unreadable. You can't read it, because they almost have never even worked on handwriting, because from early ages now we teach typing. You're working on computers. We need you to learn how to type, because we're trying to prepare you for a typing world, a computer world, a digital world. Everything is typing with thumbs or fingers on a computer or a phone. Yet how often are we actually working on handwriting? Whereas high school students, I struggled sometimes to read some of their handwriting because it is so bad, because they almost just never do it. The last vice he talks about here is instant gratification. In a digitally accelerated point-and-click world, you're going to want things faster, sooner. Instant gratification is a blessing of most digital technologies. It is also a collective curse. If you've complained about your school's internet connection speed, or you brought the next iPad to get a 3-second faster startup time, then you know the feeling. Instead, in a Christian view, we recognize it's not all about instant gratification. Yes, it's nice to get things done quickly, which is the patient willingness to build in incremental slow steps toward an eventual outcome. If we never build that ability, then we're missing something. Can you wait years for the right person? Can you wait years for the right job? Can you wait and delay that gratification, or do we have to have everything satisfied instantly? That becomes a problem. One of the tips he gives here that I thought was really good. He says the best antidote to the hazards of instant gratification is to cultivate a skill or hobby that you cannot get good at within 1 year. Find something that you can't just pick up and figure out within a day or two or a week. Find something that actually will take you, is like a legitimate technical skill that'll take you more than a year to actually master, and something that you want to do. And he goes, then do that again several times throughout your life. Right? Once you've mastered something, find something else. Find another skill that allows you to work hard at something that is not just instantly gratifying. I've figured it out, I'm perfect, but actually takes some time. And this can allow you to cultivate some skills against that. So these are some of the vices that come from the communication that we receive, from the media that we consume, from the news outlets that we're watching, that if we're not careful can begin to shape our identity, shape our character, shape our approach to life. So he finishes this chapter with this quote. He says, farther, perhaps the healthiest media diet is really that simple. Actually, let me go back, because he brings in some aspect of Jesus. In a certain sense, since the exile from Eden, we have fixed what wasn't broken, and it has all broken us in the process. If Jesus had food that we didn't know about, and it was to do with the will of his Father, then perhaps the healthiest media diet is really that simple: to walk, talk, and act in our embodied selves as Christ did among the poor, the sick, and the outcast. We need to quiet ourselves long enough to hear the whisper that will tell us what food will nourish us deeply, what food will only stuff our mouths and make it impossible to really speak. I think that's a great piece of advice in our overconsumed, drowning media culture. And the question is, can you walk, talk, and act in your embodied self with the people around you? When is the last time that you have quieted yourself long enough to hear the whisper that you can learn what is actually nourishing versus what is just stuffing our mouths? Have we actually stopped eating long enough to feel hungry? Have we stopped consuming entertainment long enough to feel something? Or are we just constantly feeding that need to be fed? And that's a really good question.